You've probably been told the same advice over and over again. If a woman isn't showing interest, you should give up, move on, or try harder to win her attention. But here's the hard truth. Women don't miss men because they need them. They miss men who know how to leave behind an emotional presence so strong that it lingers even in their absence. This video isn't about cheap pickup tricks or lines you'd be embarrassed to use. It's about going deeper, understanding female psychology at its core. It's about learning how to position yourself so that even a woman who didn't care at first finds herself wondering about you when you're no longer around. Sounds impossible. It's not. Indifference is not permanent. It's only a reaction. And if you know how to shift that reaction, you can completely change the way she sees you. Understand this. Making a woman miss you is never about chasing, begging, or proving your worth. Those are the fastest ways to destroy attraction. Women don't respect men who try too hard. What truly makes you unforgettable is almost the opposite of what most men do. It's not about being endlessly available. It's about becoming the kind of man she can't ignore, even when you're gone. By the end of this video, you'll see clearly making her miss you isn't about luck. It's about understanding psychology and playing the game differently. But before we dive in, tell me your name and where you're from. What challenge are you facing in your relationship right now? Share it, because I and this entire community want to support you. Now, let's begin. 1. Chasing kills attraction. Here's a truth that most men resist because it feels so unnatural. The harder you chase a woman, the quicker she pulls away. On the surface, pursuing seems logical. You see someone you want, so you try to win her over with attention, effort, and constant reassurance. But in reality, that instinct works against you. In female psychology, chasing flips the balance of power instantly. Instead of her feeling fortunate to hold your attention, you become the one auditioning for hers. And when that dynamic takes hold, désir collapse. Ask yourself honestly who misses something they already have. Too much of nobody. Abundance kills craving. Think of it this way. Imagine someone delivered free gourmet food to your door every day. At first, you might be excited, but soon, the novelty fades. You stop craving it because you never had to work for it. Never had to wonder if you'd get it again. The moment that food disappears, suddenly you feel its absence. The same principle applies with attraction. When you are constantly calling, texting, and bending over backwards to impress her, you remove all scarcity from the equation. You flood her with access to you. And in doing so, you erase the possibility of her missing you. Worse, chasing communicates something deeper, something women pick up on immediately. It screams insecurity. It tells her that you don't see your own value, that you don't trust your worth enough to stand still and let her meet you halfway. And nothing suffocates attraction faster than insecurity. Women are drawn to men who carry themselves as if they have options, who respect their own time, and who refuse to beg for attention. These men radiate quiet confidence, the type of presence that says, "I know what I bring to the table, and I don't need to prove it." That energy is magnetic. So the first rule: if you want a woman, even one who shows little interest at the start, to actually think about you, is simple. Stop chasing. Step back. Create space for her curiosity to grow. That silence will speak louder than 100 desperate messages. Picture this. You text a woman 3 times a day and her replies are short, cold, or delayed. Most men panic here. They double their efforts, send more texts, try to win her over with volume. But the high-value man does the opposite. He stops texting for 2 days. He creates an absence. What happens? More often than not, she notices. She checks her phone expecting your name. She wonders where you've gone. She may even reach out first. By not chasing, you shift the frame. You go from the man who is always available to the man who must be wondered about. Curiosity replaces indifference. Désir replaces obligation. And respect begins to grow where desperation once lived. That's why chasing is fatal to attraction. It doesn't show strength. It shows need. And the man who needs nothing is the man she can never forget. 2, silence speaks louder than text. Most men fall into the same trap. They believe constant communication is the secret to winning a woman's affection. They think if they send her a good morning text, check in throughout the day, and close with good night, she'll eventually feel cared for and start returning their interest. On the surface, it looks like genuine effort. In reality, it's the fastest way to make her lose appreciation. Why? Because words that never stop flowing lose their meaning. When your attention is always available, it becomes ordinary. Silence, on the other hand, carries weight. It creates tension, forces space, and sparks the one emotion that drives female desire more than anything else: curiosity. When you step back into silence, she begins to wonder, why isn't he texting me? Where is he right now? Who might he be with? That wondering is the seed of attraction. Curiosity fills the gaps that your constant messages use to drown out. Think of attention like a currency. If you flood her with texts and calls every hour, it feels like pocket change always there. Never special. But the moment you hold back, even briefly, your attention transforms into something rare. And human nature craves what is rare. Now, silence must not be confused with immaturity. This isn't about ignoring her or playing games. It's about balance. It's about showing, without words, that your world does not revolve around her. Replies. A man who can go about his day without the urge to check in constantly communicates confidence, independence, and self-respect. And those qualities are far more attractive than endless lines of text. Sometimes the most powerful statement you can deliver is complete quiet. Silence says, I am whole without your validation. I am not dependent on your response. And that quiet assurance creates more impact than any well-crafted message ever could. Picture this. You've been messaging her daily, and suddenly her replies turn short, delayed, or half-hearted. The average man panics. He sends more texts, asks if she's upset, or tries harder to grab her attention. But the high-value man chooses restraint. He stops messaging for an entire day. What happens? She notices. She checks her phone, half expecting to see your name. She wonders why you've gone silent. Sometimes, she even reaches out first. That pause, those hours of unanswered silence, create more magnetic pull than 100 needy messages. It's not about playing cold. It's about knowing your worth. Silence flips the script. Instead of you chasing her, She begins to chase the mystery you create. That is why silence isn't emptiness. It's presence. It's not weakness. It's strength. And in the language of attraction, sometimes saying nothing speaks louder than saying everything. 3. Stop being too available. One of the most common mistakes men make with women is believing that constant availability will somehow win her heart. You've probably done it yourself, cancelling plans with friends just in case she calls, replying instantly to every text, making sure she knows you'll always be there. On the surface, it looks like dedication. In reality, it makes you predictable, boring, and worst of all, forgettable. Think about it. When someone is always there, always ready, where's the challenge? Where's the spark? Where's the thrill? If she knows you'll pick up every call, say yes to every request, and drop everything the moment she wants attention, you remove all mystery. And when something becomes too easy to obtain, it loses its value. That's not just dating, that's human nature. Reflect on your own life. Think of a time you chased something important, a dream job, a rare opportunity, or a goal you weren't sure you could reach. The very difficulty made it exciting. The uncertainty made it valuable. But when something was handed to you without effort, it never felt the same. The same principle applies to attraction. Women don't crave men who orbit their every move. They're drawn to men with their own lives, their own passions, their own priorities. Men who can say, "I can't, I'm busy." Men who don't feel the need to drop everything for approval. That type of independence is magnetic. It communicates strength, purpose, and self-respect. Here's the truth. Independence is attractive because it proves you are not desperate. It shows you have value outside of her attention. A man who values his own time naturally teaches others to value it too. So, what happens when you stop being overly available? She begins to notice your absence. When you create space, you create intrigue. Instead of assuming you'll always be there, she starts to wonder where you are, what you're doing, and why you aren't reaching out. That wondering is the foundation of desire. The more you make yourself constantly accessible, the less she feels the need to miss you. But when you step back, when you show that your world doesn't revolve around her, that's when she feels the shift. That's when she realizes your presence isn't guaranteed. And nothing pulls harder on her emotions than the fear of losing what is not permanently secured. So remember, this availability without limits kills attraction. Space creates value. And the man who can stand firmly in his own life, without needing constant validation, is the man who becomes unforgettable. 4. Mystery beats honesty every time. We've all been taught from childhood that honesty is the best policy, and in long-term relationships, that advice holds weight. But here's the uncomfortable truth most men never hear when it comes to attraction. Too much honesty, revealed too soon, doesn't build desire, it kills it. Many men make the mistake of laying every card on the table right away. They think that by telling her every thought, every plan, and every feeling, they're building connection and trust. What they don't realize is that they're stripping away the one element that keeps her intrigued: mystery. Attraction isn't built in the logical part of her brain. It's not a checklist she marks off. Attraction is emotional. And nothing stirs emotion more deeply than curiosity. When a woman doesn't fully know what you're about, She begins to fill in the blanks herself. She wonders where you're going, what you're doing, and what's really on your mind. That curiosity keeps her hooked. But when you over-explain, when you become an open book from day one, there's nothing left for her to imagine. And without imagination, there's nothing for her to chase. Think of your favorite movies or books. What makes them unforgettable isn't that every detail is revealed at the beginning. It's the suspense, the tension, the mystery. If the ending was spoiled in the first 5 minutes, the entire journey would fall flat. Women experience the same dynamic with men. If you reveal everything, how you feel, what you're doing, where you're going, you remove all the suspense. And without suspense, there's no thrill. The truth is, this mystery creates value. When you don't hand her every answer, you force her to pay attention. You make her think about you even when you're not around. That's the real secret. Missing you begins in the mind long before it touches the heart. Yes, honesty matters. But if your goal is to ignite attraction, you must understand timing and balance. Too much honesty too early makes you ordinary. A measured dose of mystery makes you unforgettable. So remember this, it's not what you tell her that makes her miss you, it's what you choose not to reveal. By holding something back, by leaving a little space for her imagination, you shift from being predictable to being magnetic. You become the man she thinks about when she's alone. The one she can't quite figure out. The story that never fully spoils itself. And that is the paradox of attraction. She doesn't crave clarity. She craves curiosity. What keeps her coming back isn't total transparency, but the sense that there's always more to discover. 5. Never compete for her attention. Far too many men fall into the same exhausting trap. They treat a woman's attention like a prize to be fought over. They see her post a photo and race to be the first comment. They notice other men in her orbit and suddenly feel the need to outshine them. Louder jokes, bigger gestures, constant availability. They believe that if they just try harder than everyone else, she'll finally recognize their worth. Let's be blunt. That mindset is weak, and weakness is the one scent women can detect instantly. The harsh truth is this: the moment you start competing for her attention, you've already lost the game. Why? Because real men don't compete, they attract. A man grounded in his own value doesn't waste energy worrying about who else is texting her, who else is looking at her, or who else is trying to win her over. He knows his presence is enough. His worth is self-evident. And if she fails to recognize it, that's not his loss, it's hers. This is where most men need a reality check. Stop elevating women onto pedestals. Stop acting as if her attention is some kind of trophy you must earn through performance. That belief system doesn't inspire respect. It signals desperation. And desperation is poison to attraction. Here's the paradox: the harder you chase and compete, the faster she withdraws. Why? Because she senses the imbalance. You're treating her as the prize while lowering yourself into the role of a contestant. Women are drawn not to men who beg for attention, but to men who create demand through presence, confidence, and self-respect. When you stop competing and instead start living as if you are the standard, something powerful shifts. Her perception of you changes. She realizes your time, your energy, and your focus are not cheap commodities. They are rare, valuable, and worth craving. And the moment she sees that, her attraction begins to grow, not because you fought for her, but because you refuse to. So here's the advice every man needs to hear. Wake up. If you're still scrambling for a woman's attention, you're telling her she's above you. Flip the script. You are not the contestant in her game. You are the one setting the rules. You are the prize she should be competing for. The truth is simple. The man who never competes stands out. The man who knows his worth doesn't need to prove it. And the man who refuses to beg for validation is the one she remembers long after others fade away. 6. Confidence is more addictive than love. There's a hard truth most men don't want to accept. Women are not pulled in by love first. They are pulled in by confidence. You can shower a woman with affection, send her endless texts, write paragraph, pouring your heart out, and bend over backwards to prove how much you care. But if you lack confidence, she won't feel that spark of attraction. Instead of seeing devotion, she'll sense weakness. Why does this happen? Because love without confidence feels like dependency, and dependency doesn't attract, it repels. Confidence, on the other hand, is magnetic. It's that invisible quality that makes people pause, notice, and pay attention. You don't need to announce it. True confidence is silent but powerful. Confidence is not arrogance. It's not about boasting or pretending you're better than everyone else. Real confidence is kite. Subtler, it's the way you carry yourself, the calmness in your voice, the steadiness in your eyes, and the way you move through life without constantly begging for approval. It's assurance without noise. Think about it. How many times have you seen a woman choose a man who wasn't the most handsome, the wealthiest, or even the kindest, but he carried himself with unshakable self-belief that wasn't an accident? Women are wired to respond to confidence because it signals strength, security, and leadership. Those qualities trigger a primal sense of attraction, far stronger than affection alone. Love can make her smile, but confidence makes her crave you, and this is where most men fail. They mistake words for confidence. They believe that if they talk big, declare their feelings, or repeat how much they care, it will prove their worth. But confidence isn't expressed in talk, it's proven in action. Confidence is making a decision without hesitation. It's standing firm in your beliefs instead of folding just to please her. It's being comfortable with silence instead of filling every gap with nervous chatter. And most importantly, it's having the strength to walk away if you are not respected. That kind of strength cannot be faked, and it's unforgettable. Here's the reality. Love without confidence becomes attachment, and attachment turns into neediness. Neediness drains attraction, but confidence is what lingers long after you've left the room. Confidence is what keeps her awake at night, wondering about you. Confidence is what makes her miss you, even if she swore she wouldn't. So here's your wake-up call. Stop believing love alone will make her value you. Love without confidence is weakness disguised as devotion. Confidence, with or without love, is power. And in the end, confidence is more addictive than love itself because it creates desire that lasts. 7. Make her think she's losing you. There's one undeniable truth about human nature. People don't truly value what they believe is guaranteed. They only value what they fear they might lose. And nothing makes a woman miss a man faster than the realization that his presence is slipping away. Too many men ruin their chances by cementing themselves as a permanent fixture in her life. They become predictable, always available, and endlessly devoted, even when she hasn't earned it. When she knows you'll always be there no matter how she treats you, she has no reason to chase you, no reason to appreciate you, and certainly no reason to miss you. But everything changes the moment she senses that your focus is shifting. When your attention is no longer directed solely at her, something stirs inside her. Suddenly, doubts begin to creep in. What if he's moving on? What if another woman now has his attention? What if I've already lost my chance? That fear cuts deep, and it awakens desire in a way constant presence never could. Let's be clear, this isn't about manipulation or playing childish games. It's about self-respect. You're not pretending to pull away just to provoke her. You're genuinely living a life that doesn't revolve around her validation. You're demonstrating that your world has its own direction. And if she doesn't value it, someone else eventually will. That realization is what makes her truly feel your absence. The lesson is simple but powerful. Stop being her guarantee. A man who is always available, who never sets boundaries, quickly becomes invisible. But a man who can walk away, who can let silence speak, and who can allow her to imagine a life without him, he becomes unforgettable. When she believes she might be losing you, every moment of your presence gains weight. Every word you speak matters more. Every silence leaves her restless. That's when she begins to miss you, not because you forced her to doubt, but because her own mind won't let her ignore what she fears she can't get back. And deep down, nothing unsettles a woman more than realizing she had a man of value, and that man might now be gone for good. At the end of the day, and this may sting a little, women don't truly miss the nice guy. What lingers in their mind is the man strong enough to walk away, the man who doesn't beg, the man who allows her to feel the weight of his absence. That's the uncomfortable truth most men avoid. But it's the one that sets you free. You could be the most caring, affectionate man in the world. But if you never create distance, she won't value you. She won't miss you. She may even forget you. But the man who respects himself, who knows when to hold back and refuses to lower his standards, that is the man she ends up chasing. Now I want to turn this over to you. Have you ever caught yourself chasing too hard? Or maybe you've seen how silence, not words, pulled her attention back to you. Share your story in the comments. I'll be reading them personally. And I'd love to connect, give feedback, and maybe even help guide you through your own situation. And before we close, let me leave you with a glimpse of what's next. In the upcoming video, we're going to uncover why giving a woman your full loyalty too soon may be the exact reason she pulls away. So take a second right now, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and stay ready for what's coming. I'll see you in the next one.